This TFMR podcast is brought to you by your friends at JM Bullion. Visit jmbullion.com for all your gold and silver bullion needs. Welcome back to another edition of the TF Metals Report podcast highlights. This time for the week of January 16th, 2023. You may recall January 16th, Monday, was actually a U.S. market holiday in observance of the birthday of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. So the trading action actually began on Tuesday, and it began with gold under pressure to the tune of about $12. Now, an old TFMR adage is, it's not how you begin the week that matters, it's how you end it. And most of these losses, in fact, all of these losses, would be reclaimed by the time we got to Friday. But we didn't know that on Tuesday. So one of the charts we reviewed, Tuesday the 17th, was the daily chart of February COMEX Gold. Look at gold. Again, big spike up Friday and Thursday of last week. And then, an expected pullback. It got a little overbought. I think that daily RSI got up to 70-something, probably even higher than that temporarily Sunday night. So it's just pulling back a little bit. But look closely. Should be tomorrow, I would imagine. If not tomorrow, Thursday, that bullish cross, 50 days, is going to come sharply up through the 200-day. And that ought to give us a little technical boost, that's for sure. About the only frustration with trading so far in 2023 has been in the action in COMEX silver. Gold's up about $100, and mining shares are doing great, but silver is actually down a little on the year. The selling that came in Tuesday continued into Wednesday, and we thought, well, we better look at that chart again. There is a hard cap that has been in place at $24.50 since the middle of December. The COT report would suggest it's a bunch of hedge funds that are still stuck short. They're putting good money after bad, trying to keep silver from breaking out. They may just be setting themselves up for another short squeeze. We'll see about that. But on Wednesday, the price was down again, so we took a look at that chart to see where we might find some support up against this very stiff resistance at $24.50. And finally to silver, again, whatever. Look at this cap. This is just asinine. And again, we noticed in last week's COT report that it appears to be hedge funds that are probably still short from November, that are desperately they've drawn a line in the sand at $24.50. Trying not to let, lose another $2 and be forced to cover. So they're trying to shove it back down, some hedge funds. Not even the banks, I don't think. And you could see that in the disaggregated COT last week. If you missed it, go back to listen to Friday's podcast. So let's see what happens on this week's COT, and maybe more importantly, next week's COT. Because the banks may just be sucking them in again. Let it bounce off of this 50-day, and then blast through $24.50 and go to 26 in what would be short squeeze number 5. It's a possibility. Our Thursday Conversation podcast, which again is always a free public link. You don't have to be a subscriber or a member at TFMR to access it. So just go to the TF Metals Report homepage and you'll find the link to the discussion this week with John Rubino. John has been at this longer than I have, which is saying something. And he used to run a site called Dollar Collapse, but he is still very actively involved in analyzing and watching the markets and the economy. So it's always fun to talk to John. And that whole interview is at tfmetalsreport.com. Here's just a little snippet of some of what we discussed on Thursday.
I think you could totally make the case that this is a plan. This is a long-term plan that involves driving us into deeper and deeper debt, and terrifying us so that we're easy to control, and then basically just sucking whatever wealth is left out of the 90, leaving all of us deeply in debt and dependent on government services.
Right.
And we're close to that. In a lot of cases out there, people are in that situation now, and more of them are moving into that category of debt serfdom every day.
On Friday, COMEX Gold has rallied again, and it is going to paint another green candle on the weekly chart, making it 5 in a row. Now, as we head into next week, the good news is no Fed goons. We'll enter the quiet period before the next FOMC meeting, so we don't have to worry about some random Fed goon grabbing a microphone and setting the algorithms into overdrive. So we got that going for us. However, we are going to be moving toward the option expiration for the February gold contract, the contract going off the board, and next week, all Chinese markets will be closed Monday through Friday for the observance of Chinese New Year. So we're heading into a volatile period next week, probably with a bias to the downside. So our streak of winning green candles may come to an end, but that doesn't change the fundamental picture, the fact that we are poised for a very strong year in the COMEX precious metals. So please join us at TFMR. You've got about a week left to use the coupon code 2023 and get half off your first month of a new subscription. Give you a chance to kick the tires, see if you like the site, and then stick around from there if you'd like, if you think we can be of value going forward. So please, I encourage you to check us out. Go to tfmetalsreport.com and click the subscribe button and see if you want to join us at TFMR. Thanks again to listening to this week's podcast highlights. We'll look forward to talking to you again next week.